Brenna Green is joining us right now because we have two major stories that we are tracking tonight. Two major legal updates, actually, involving two high-profile college head coaches right here in the area.
Yes, Nick Rolovich announced this morning that he is planning on suing Washington State University for illegal termination, and Mark Few has pled guilty to his DUI charge. We'll start with Rolovich. We learned several details from the statement his lawyer put out today. He has not officially filed his case yet. His lawyer says that Rolovich's religious exemption was not approved by the university, and that if it was approved, Rolovich felt that the university would not have made an accommodation for him. The statement also said that Rolovich was not allowed to address his team after Chun told him that his exemption was denied and that he was escorted to his car by campus police. We also officially found out that Rolovich identifies as Catholic, which is something I asked Rolovich during this process, but he declined to answer. The Pope has repeatedly urged people to get vaccinated. Chun was heavily mentioned in the statement, which accused him of discriminatory and deceitful behavior. It was very clear that Rolovich is upset with Chun in particular. Here's more from that statement. In part, Chun's animus towards Coach Rolovich, Coach Rolovich's sincerely held religious beliefs, and Chun's dishonesty at the expense of Coach Rolovich during this past year is damning and will be thoroughly detailed in litigation. It is a tragic and damning commentary on our culture, and more specifically on Chun, that Coach Rolovich has been derided, demonized, and ultimately fired from his job. On to Few. News broke today that 5 days ago, Few pled guilty to DUI, quote, because he is guilty. He said in court, Few was ordered to pay a $1,000 fine and do 24 hours of community service by February 1st. He also has to complete an unsupervised probation. He will be given driving privileges back on November 5th just to get to and from work, but he will have an ignition interlock system on his car. That means he'll have to prove he is not drunk before his vehicle can operate. His attorney also stated that Few has already completed both the drug and alcohol information and victim impact classes. Few said in court that he was very, very sorry and that this won't happen again. More from what Few's attorney had to say. Mr. Few appears before you very humbled. This was very out of character. He has spent a long day out in the sun and thought he was okay to drive, but he was not. It's not a mistake that he will make again. Yeah, so there you go. Brenna Green, sports reporter and legal reporter.
It's a lot all for one day,
Gosh.
but this kind of brings to a close some cases that have been, out for a very, very long time.
And for Coach Few, I mean, it looks to me like he just owned up to it.
Yeah, he was very forthright in the Zoom meeting that they had for the court hearing, and took the blame for it.
Wow. And then looks like this is going to be a continuing story as far as Coach Rolovich is concerned.
The interesting thing is that WSU, normally in these situations, they just put them in litigation. People agree to pay a fine, or the school agrees to pay some sort of money to Rolovich, and we never find out what happens. The school is not going to want to pay Rolovich any money in this situation. I would be surprised if something doesn't happen in court with this.
And to be very clear, the lawsuit hasn't actually even been filed yet. That was just a statement from the attorney. Once it is filed, that is when we will learn a lot more about his claims against the university.
Correct.
It's going to be interesting to see if they can find out if in fact he was given that exemption, and it was Chun that said we can't accommodate you even though you've gotten that exemption.
They said in the statement today that he was not given the exemption.
Okay, well.
So.
And again, that was a double-blind kind of process. You detailed that. Kind of go into that just quickly.
Yeah, so basically nobody knew when they were reviewing these. There was a team that was trained to review these exemptions. Nobody knew when they were reviewing an exemption request who was the person that was applying for the exemption and what department they were in. So this was a completely blind situation.
Okay, well, it will be interesting to see what the next steps are, Brenna.
Hardest working sports reporter in the Inland Northwest, right here.
We're
Brenna
lucky
Green.
to have her.
Thanks,
exactly.
Thanks, Brenna.
Took the words right out of my mouth.